What's going on, gamers? Scott Sedman here, your guild master for Players Guild, and today I'm bringing you my favourite things I saw at UK Games Expo 2023. The UK Games Expo 2023 was its biggest year ever. You could feel that it was very, very busy. We obviously attended as press again. Thank you very much for that opportunity. We got to meet some of the most amazing people. We got to reconnect with some of the most amazing people. And I'm just going to break down my favourite things I saw at the show and just a few reasons why. And first off, we have to start with something we saw in 2022, and that's Be Like a Crow, a solo RPG designed by Tim. Honestly, this man put his heart and soul into this game. And when we saw it in 2022, ingratiated us into the Players Guild mentality. So Critical Kit, they mainly do dice and other cute things, but Tim is a designer. It's his first game. And honestly, there's just something about him and his wife, Sarah. They were very, very lovely people. And like a solo RPG, I always want to get into RPGs, a lot of prep work, and this game kind of simplifies it. It's also very interesting because it's like, oh, you're a crow? That's weird. But there's different scenarios. So you've got a cyberpunk one, you've got a gothic one. Those two are my favorites by far. They've got expansions with Crow Fulu and Fistful of Crow, I think it's called. So there's a western setting as well that you can pick up. And honestly, if you like RPGs, if you want something that you can just do on your own, Be Like a Crow is amazing. And Tim actually won the award for this, so huge congratulations to him, to Sarah. I think they had their daughter with them at the show as well, so huge congrats to that whole family. Be Like a Crow RPGs, if you like them, check this out. It's not expensive, and honestly, I think you'll come away having a lot of fun with it. Pretty simple to set up, pretty simple to play, and you're gonna have a good time. Next up, I don't have the game to show you physically because it's not out just yet, but this absolutely took us by surprise, and I do have something to show off of it. So a huge thank you to the creators there for letting me take this away. It was an actual surprise. I generally just went around to just go and say, hey, we want to work with you. This game's fantastic. And that's Heroes of the Shire, right? So it's, how I described it was like, it's a card game without the cards. Essentially, you have your character class. So, for example, the alchemist, and I think I was playing the warlock that could turn into a demon. It's very, very, very cool system. And essentially, you have your board, which has all your abilities and spells that you can cast. You have your skills that you can skill spec into, so you can min-max, or you can put them all into there, so you can build differently. So it's essentially you have 3 different builds that you can play into, and then that's not including min-maxing. And you can fight against each other, and that's the arena format, but that's again not the whole thing. There's a PvE, there's a co-op thing, and honestly, this thing surprised the heck out of us. I ended up smashing Loki, because of the way the game worked, and it's like, okay, Scott wins. We saw the potential for it, and I think that's like, from a content perspective, right? We could infinitely make content on this game, because there's 20 characters, 21 if you count the late backer kit one, and I will include the links for all of the games I talk about in the description, so if you want to check them out, you can. And yeah, so that's 21 characters, 3 different builds, like off the bat, right? So 3 times 21, it's a lot. And then you've got to look like, oh well, this character can play 20 different other characters, and so this build can play like, infinite amount of players. I mean, it's not infinite, but like lots of just arena content you can get there. Then you've got the whole cooperative PvE side of things, and they're just expanding and compound upon it, which is just fantastic. They seem very grounded people. They know what they want. They've got a vision for this game, and I came away being super impressed by the team, super impressed by the game. Lots of potential for growth in the future. But based on the art and the character I'm actually holding here, I believe, and I'm sure I'll get corrected if I'm wrong here. is a character that's not in the game currently. So this is the Gypsy. And I think there was like a Witcher style character as well, and they'll be coming in a future expansion. So they've already got expansions, and the artwork on these cards are fantastic. Holo treatment, very nice. Yeah, I have nothing but amazing things to say about Heroes of Shire. Please go and check it out. You can still back it through BackerKit. Again, link in the description. We've not been paid to say that. I just really want to see this game succeed. I really want to work with them as a content creator because I think there's something very unique about this system. And I know Loki wants revenge. And I expect it'll be on Loki's list as well. Following on from Heroes of the Shire, we have Final Girl. Okay, so this is a game I've seen talked about quite a bit. Because of its like unique style, like you're playing the last survivor in a horror movie, right? I love horror. This is straight up my jam. So I got the Big Bad Wolf Storybook of Woods game to play. Thank you to Van Ryder Games for just being like, hey, you can go and review this. Please do enjoy it. Byron, mate, if you've seen this video, huge thank you for your time. Huge thank you for just generally how you spoke and told me and talked about the game and how it plays. Huge respect for that man. Very lovely. They came all the way from America to show off the game, so huge props. But one thing I love about this game is, again, its customization. This is something you'll see quite a lot in my video. Is it's solo and it's it's solo, but it can also be done with like multiple versions of it, right? Like it's not just a one and done game, and that's something I really value in my games. So you take off the box, which, you know, like that's cool. That is the board. But if I had another expansion, say the Alien one, I could play the Alien in Storybook Woods, or I could take the Big Bad Wolf to the spaceship. And I think that, as someone who's a horror fan, right? Like, how many times have you gone, oh, I wonder how Ripley would survive against, well, I guess in this situation, Big Bad Wolf, but there's plenty of different ones. I think they've got Series 2. There's rumours of Series 3. It's done super well. It blew their expectations at Games Expo, and I'm really happy to hear that. I love horror. Final Girl is definitely one I'm looking forward to bringing to the channel. We'll definitely have a review of this, but I hope to do some gameplay in the not too distant future. Next up is a game called Partisan. It's a deck building versus game, and quite interesting, right? So we sat down across the table and had it explained to us, and initially I was a bit unsure. I'm like, I like deck builders. Deck builders are like one of my main games. I literally have the entirety of DC deck building game that I just want to start diving into. Marvel's Legendary, so things like that. And something interesting happened. And I'll throw up some pictures. I think I got a few pictures of the game so you can see the gameplay. As we were going through it, right, it's pretty open knowledge. You can see the strategy your opponent's going for. You can go your own strategy. And it kind of goes along the lines of you can fight each other, or you can try and diplomacy your way through that. And I'm explaining it very poorly, but so I was essentially saying the side that were more peaceful. That's not to say you couldn't do combat. But Loki was, again, on the red side, the more aggressive side. Definitely he found his lines and found the strategy to go forward with. Whereas I was just like, ooh, that looks cool. I'm going to take this card. Ooh, that looks cool. I'm going to take this card. And there was no way to filter out the cards you didn't want, so the starting cards, which I found very interesting. So there's always that element of, I just drew into a bad card. Well, not a bad card, but like, oh, this is a tier 1, it's a tier 0 card. This is a card to start with. I don't need this right now. I need a card that's +2 strength. And I just found that really interesting. And so whilst I wasn't initially super keen on it, by the time we were in the mid game, I was like, oh, this is really cool, because you have multiple things to keep track of. So you have like a morale system. You have like, I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was like an ally thing where like you both have pips on there, and if you're on the same type of if you're on the same number, essentially, you cannot you cannot fight your opponent. You're allied. And so that was really cool. And just generally there's so much more to it than I thought. And we kept we finished the game, Loki one-handedly, as is kind of the trope of the channel, and we kind of just came away thinking, oh, there's something to that, and we went back and talked to Todd, very nice guy by the way, a UK based deck builder, which is always nice. I like supporting UK companies. And yeah, I saw Partisans is just this very interesting thing that I'm hopeful does very well. It's coming to Kickstarter again. I'll link everything in the description. So anything I talk about today, it's in the description. And if I've forgotten, just comment and I'll be like, okay, this is where you can find their information. Yeah, so I think Partisan, right? Like, if you like deck builders, if you like a little bit of competitiveness, this is a game that you can't really play solo. But I did ask about that, and so there is a potential for an AI deck, so to speak, which is cool. There are plans for things beyond if this does well, which is also very interesting. But Todd seemed like a very down-to-earth guy. He was very humble and just basically was like, if this gets off the ground, awesome, then we'll think about what's coming next. They've got ideas, but obviously it's very much get Partisan on Kickstarter, get it successful, and then yeah. Next up, a game it's already out, but they've been teasing the expansion of there's 2 expansions coming through. It's War of the Ring, which Loki currently has the box to take home and do some B-roll and some gameplay of. But we got to speak to Roberto, one of the designers from Ares Games. Lovely dude. Again, all of the people we met couldn't say anything mean about them. They're all very lovely people. And there is an interview coming to the channel about that. So War of the Ring, it's Lord of the Rings, it's the trilogy. It's a really cool card game. Thematically, it makes sense and it's very cool. As a deck building game, as a type of, well, not as a deck building game, but as a card game, I should say. It's very strategic in what you can and can't do. And I really liked how it isn't just easy. Like, there was challenge to it, there was depth to it, and I really like that. But again, what really caught our eye and something we really wanted to focus on was the upcoming expansion that essentially makes it single player and co-op. And so this expansion actually was designed from the ground up because of fan feedback. They have an expansion planned for the game, but essentially people really loved this game and wanted the solo version / co-op version. And so they basically ground up designed this like AI deck kind of flowchart thing. It's very interesting, very cool. I think we do have some B-roll of it that you'll see when we go to the interview. And so we got to play with that. We sat down in Hall 3 with Roberto for about an hour, just seeing how it played through and did all of its things. And you know what? As a self-playing deck as going against it, it felt like I was playing against a player, and I was very impressed with that. It wasn't just reveal the top card of the deck and then do whatever. It's like it felt like this. It had actual stakes to what it wanted to do. You had consequences to make that decided what affects that deck. Right? You could lose a victory point essentially, or one, and then you could burn 2 of their cards completely, which you have to think about realistically. Do I want them having that? I can take a victory point in the early game because your loss con is like if you're 10 victory points difference. So it's like, okay, well, 1's not fine, but then it can compound, and there's like lots of things that appeared. I mean, we did see a Balrog. Thankfully, it couldn't get played early, but I was like, oh my gosh, so cool, so cool. So I'm very excited for that expansion to come out. He said around September is where they're aiming to launch it, and I think that's probably going to happen. But War of the Ring card game, the base game, super fun. Black Hole Buccaneers, I want to say. So Black Hole Buccaneers, it kind of brings me on to talking about Pegasus Spiel. But yeah, so this is kind of like I don't want to say parody because it's actually quite a fun game. But like it's got the TARDIS there. You got your Game Boys. Sorry, you can't see because of the reflection. There's a TARDIS, there's Game Boy, you've got random number generator, you've got it's like loads of pop culture things. Like there's a GLaDOS type card, which is a cynical dental light, which I think is hilarious. So if you're a nerd like me, like just picking this up like, because it's funny, is a good thing. But it's actually quite, it's just a quite fun, nice game. Like 3 to 6 players, 30 to 40 minutes. It's a good time to bring out at the tabletop. So I wanted to bring this out, but I did want to follow up with another Pegasus Spiel game, which is Dorf Romantic. One of the most relaxing, stressful games I've ever played as a video game comes to board games, and it's amazing. We played it, and they sold out, and I just didn't get a chance to pick one up, which is sad. So hopefully I'll have it in my collection eventually. Yeah, it's really awesome. I don't have much to say because I don't have the box here, and I really wish I did because I was like, it's so cool. Dorf Romantic in board game form. In all of its ways. There's progression in the game, which I always like to see. And yeah, I think it's just one of those games where it's got that Carcassonne effect, right? Where you can just want to build a nice little thing in front of you. Which is also like the Boat Patrol game we saw. I think it was called Boat Patrol? Beat Patrol. Nice Panosaurus game as well. I'll give that a shout out. Carcassonne of the Sea, essentially, but it was very nice. And yeah, I really like that game too. Me and Loki just needed a filler game while we were waiting for an interview, and then yeah, we played that. So yeah, Dorf Romantic, big one. And next up, I have to give a few shout outs because this is awesome as well. Next up, I have Chainsomnia. Now, it's from Japanime Games, and Japanime Games are a team that I've been following their publishing of games for a long time now, but never really dove into their catalogue. I'm happy to say that that's changing now. I've got Chainsomnia. I'm hopefully going to be getting the Cowboy Beep Boop deck building game, because it's Cowboy Beep Boop and I really like deck builders. I think you've kind of got that from this video already. But yeah, Chainsomnia is a really cool Betrayal at the House on the Hill style game that you can also play solo, which is very nice. But one major thing I really wanted to point out here, and that's why I'm actually going through the components box here, just to pull it up, is because having a physical disability, as I do, is you don't get representation that much in media, let alone video games or board games in this situation. And so I saw Isaac, and he's in a wheelchair, and not only is that awesome just for representation for people who are disabled, like there's I know a lot of board gamers who are disabled, it's nice just to see, but it's not just like, oh, well, this character's in a wheelchair, they've thought about it, so his action points are actually, like, rather than footprints, they're just wheels, and it's that level of detail that I think was really cool. So that was Chainsomnia from Japanime Games, designed by Delightworks Inc. So yeah, that's also one of my favourite games from the show. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but Taiwaniku. I mean, I think this was on most people's lists. It's super cool, very unique system. It's solo, it's co-op, and it's competitive. So all three things I like in video games, in board games. I can't wait to crack this open, have a good review of it. But from what I saw and what I've been researching, it's just such a cool game, with lots of replayability, lots of scenarios and stuff like that. And yeah, sit-down games, I think they've got a massive hit on their hand with Taiwaniku, and I'm looking forward to actually bringing it to the channel. It's a reason I took it home. And so the last few things I want to shout out, Lucky again has these for the channel, is Epic Card Game Duel, a really fun, like, built-in just 2 decks, go nuts, beat each other, play a card game. We're both big card gamers, obviously Dragon Ball and all the Bandai card games, as well as other card games we cover on this channel. So going into Epic Card Game, where it's like, okay, here's 2 decks. Oh, okay. The first unique thing about it, like the duel thing, was just like, don't shuffle this, play it how it is. And I actually really love that. I think that is genuinely something card games can take from. It's like, oh, this is the set version of the deck, right? You get a starter deck, it's all in an order anyway. Like, no matter what game you play, there's no real randomizations to a starter deck. So having in the rules, just be like, okay, this is your first game, cool. Play it like this. And it really did help me understand it. So we were playing a second game in no time at all, and it was very respectful of time. We had a lot of fun playing it. There's a lot of depth to it. It's very simple. Like, there's not much of like resource management. There is timing, which is like you've got to manage when you use your one resource to play a card. But like, it's not like, oh, well, I have to tap out and do all X, Y, Z. It's nothing like that. So I think it was a really fun little experience. And so this was from Wise Wizard Games. And so huge props to them. I definitely think we'll be doing more epic card game content and or Hero Realms, I believe, Kapow, and Star Realms as well, because spaceships, I love spaceships. Finally, the last thing we're going to touch upon, at least for me, is Skytear. So Skytear Horde is the main reason we spent time afterwards on the Saturday playing with the developer, interviewing him, just having a really good chat. Like, I loved that we could have that experience, and honestly, it was just a really cool time. It's a tower defense card game, which I think is just, you say it out loud and it's very intriguing. We got back to the hotel, we played it, we got slaughtered. Next night we were playing it, we beat it, and we had so much fun. And like, that was just playing on hard, right? So there's an impossible mode that we have to play through and try and beat, and lots of things. But they have an expansion coming out called Monolith, which we're very excited to try and play. But there also is the base game Skytear, which, yes, is a MOBA, which is very interesting as well. So lots of cool things coming to the channel regarding Skytear. I think it's a brand that we're definitely going to work with, because I think genuinely it's something cool. The tower defense element, it's strategic, it's random, and it's chaos, and I'm all here for it. Like, we've only beat them with certain decks. I beat it with the green deck, and Loki's beat it with the blue deck. So like, there's different combinations that we have to try. All kinds of unique interactions. So that's Skytear. Wrapping up my favorite things I saw at UKGE. A few other shout outs. Organized play events. Did an amazing job of all the Bandai card games and all of the tabletop stuff they were handling. So shout out to Tommy. Shout out to the team. Everyone did an amazing job. It was flawless. Honestly, huge props to them. They managed a 300 plus person One Piece tournament. Digimon did well. Dragon Ball sold out. Battle Spirits was there. And on that note, the Battle Spirits devs were there. So very nice to see and hear from them. And also, I want to give a shout out to this card game. Oh, that's embarrassing. I forgot Lorcana, didn't I? You know, the biggest thing we went there for anyway. Well, actually, no, we were there for other games, but like Lorcana, a TCG, Disney, you know, this thing that we've been covering. Like, you'd think I'd remember that. Oops. Yeah, Lorcana was great. To no surprise, it plays really well. Met Ryan Miller, icon, favorite designer for card games. Lovely guy. Made lots of jokes about my hand, whether it made him feel uncomfortable or remembers me for life, I don't know. But yeah, Lorcana was great. It's a shame we could only play to 7 lore. It's a shame they didn't have anything new. I guess that's kind of why it's like not the most amazing thing on my thing. It's like we didn't really get anything new. We had some nice discussion about design philosophy, which I thought was very valuable to myself as a designer in training, and just someone who appreciates card game philosophy. And we played with Iber, so it was a good time. And shout out to Ben as well. Yeah, so Lorcana's cool. I don't know where I'm gonna put this. It's Lorcana, right? Like, it's Disney. I don't know what else to say. That it was just great, and if you've kind of already played it, you know it's great. And I think it's gonna be amazing for people's first TCG, or people who just like TCGs, or Disney. I think it's just gonna be great. Lorcana, woo! I can't believe I forgot Lorcana. Damn. Like, that's just funny. That's just funny to me. And to wrap it up, I need to give a few quick shout outs. Discovery card game, expandable card game, it's on Kickstarter now. Pirate themed, very interesting. I really enjoyed my time with it. I think it's got quite a few unique sensibilities to it. Hopefully we'll be doing more on it in the future. Kavango, I believe is the name. It's a conservative animal wildlife game. Didn't get a chance to play it, but thought I'd mention it here because I believe in the message. It's coming soon to Kickstarter, and just really like their message. I got a chance to talk to them at the very end of the show, so very nice. And it has meerkats and it has pangolins, and you know, they're cool animals, so go and spot that. And finally, last but not least, Drum roll, please. Zoontalis. Yeah, miniatures game. Yeah, not wasn't expecting to put a miniatures game on here, but it's a battle royale style, really fun, really easy, really simple, um, and lots of potential in it. So hopefully, I have more to talk about on Zoontalis in the future. But if not, it's a cool game to check out if you're interested in miniatures and or cute animal warrior things. It was generally a really cool game. I think I'll post up some pictures of the miniatures. But that is it for my games of UK Games Expo. I might have missed something, so if I have, I do apologise. We saw a lot of games this weekend. Well, this whole week. It was a long week. Amazing people, amazing designers, passionate players. That's what UK Games Expo is all about. So I hope I've done their games justice in what I've described, and of course links to their games in the description below, so you can support and or buy them if you wish. Whilst you're in the description, we do have an affiliate link with Voltex. So if you like their binders, if you like their card sleeves, if you like their deck boxes, and you go to either the Amazon.com link or the UK link and use Players Guild, you can save yourself 10%, and it helps the channel immensely. Voltex, amazing affiliate, and yeah, you guys have smashed it with that goal. And speaking of smashing it, smash that subscribe button if you're new for more tabletop card game and also just generally nerdy card content here on Players Guild. I'm Scott Sedman. This was my list of favourite things I saw at UK Games Expo 2023. Stay tuned for Loki's, and I'll see you next time.